Hello Ride On people. Today I've got a slight eye infection, so I'm not going to be riding any great distances, and I thought a way of getting my bike fixed is to come up to my local Indian shop in Cumming, Indian Atlanta, and have a quick look-see, and maybe go around the block on a Scout. I've got an offer from one of the salesmen there to take one out and see what it's like. I've never ridden one before, might be interesting, so might do that. Anyway, stay tuned. So the shops here has been around a little while, and as you can see they also sell a lot of slingshots, so I'll show you a few pictures of those. Pretty cool. And I noticed this Harley trike, which is kind of interesting. Cool kind of sparkly colour. I don't know if that shows up in the sunlight, but it looks pretty nice in real life, that kind of sparkly orange. That's got the new Milwaukee 8 engine in that one. Plenty of bikes around here, that's for sure. A couple of Victories, of course. Polaris has stopped making the Victory now. New Roadmaster by the look of it. Indian Scout, that's probably a demo bike. Pretty cool. And they've got a particularly nice smoke white Chieftain here. That's pretty cool. And got the Black Heritage there. More Roadmasters. And then we've got the Chieftain Dark Horse, blacked out solo seat. Pretty cool looking. It's a nice looking shop. And another couple of Scouts, two-tone. Again, smoke white. And a black-red Chieftain. Pretty cool. Let's go inside and have a look around. Okay, so I've met the salesman, a guy called Hippie. Really nice guy actually, and he's going to let me have a go around the block on this. So I'll do a few miles on this and get a kind of initial impression. It's a kind of beautiful cream colour. Might not look so good in camera, looks very nice in the flesh in the sunshine, and we'll see how we get on. Okay, so we'll cut that out at editing stage. So we're back from the ride. It's pleasantly nice. I really enjoyed it. I'll go home and collect my thoughts, and I'll give you my kind of pros and cons, and maybe pros and cons against competition. But overall, very very favourable. I think it bodes very well for the upcoming Indian Barber, which is coming out in September time. So. Just a big shout out to Atlanta Highway Indian, and also my sales rep here, Hippie. Hippie, tell us why we should buy all our Indians from you guys, or you specifically.
Well, me specifically, because I look forward to the opportunity of talking with other motorcyclists and assisting them in finding the motorcycle that is right for them. I've been riding since 2001. I'm a firm believer that the motorcycle chooses us, not us choosing the motorcycle. I will impart any and all knowledge I have of motorcycling to you, listen to you, and look forward to meeting those that come in and want to buy a new motorcycle or used motorcycle we have. Just ask for your old pal Hippie. Thank you.
And what's the phone number here?
770-752-9160. The street address is 5960 Atlanta Highway in Alpharetta. We are just north of McFarland Parkway in Alpharetta on Highway 9. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Pretty good advert there for the shop and Hippie, and I recommend these guys. They're really nice, very friendly, no hard sell, and the showroom here is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to shoot a little bit of video of the showroom, some photos, and check it out. And if you're in the area, come up here and speak to my good friend Hippie here, and he'll sort you out. So it's Sunday now. I'm back from my ride yesterday on the Indian Scout. Another beautiful day here in sunny Georgia, and if I can make my way around to my Adirondack chair around here, I can have a sit down and tell you my thoughts post-ride. Decided not to do any on-bike footage this time. I think you all know what a set of clocks and handlebars looks like, and sound quality is not always the best when you're out riding the bike. And I also wanted a little bit of time to reflect on my thoughts on the bike and stuff. And overall impressions pretty good actually, kind of like what I'd imagine the next generation of liquid cooled Sportsters from Harley Davidson are likely to be like. In terms of the riding position, it's more stretched out, more cruiser style, more like the 48, as opposed to a more kind of retro style like the Sporty Sportster and the Triumph Bobber, which are very much feet more underneath yourself in terms of the Harley Roadster and the Triumph Bobber. The Scout's much more forward controls, more kicked out like a dyno really, and the 48 obviously. In terms of low speed balance and manners, very very good actually. I was quite surprised. The wheelbase is a fair bit longer, I think, just visualising them on the Scout than it is the Bobber, but it was still felt very agile at car park pace even, and very manoeuvrable without much effort from the arms or anything, and quite well balanced. The one thing I would say is that the clutch is a much heavier item than the kind of very light clutch on the Triumph, but having said that, it's probably lighter than the Harley clutch. Will feel pretty familiar to Harley riders. Similarly, the gearbox, the shift isn't as sweet and slick as on the Triumph Bobber, but it's noticeably better than the Sportster. It's still very firm. There's no false neutrals, and if you like a firm gear change, that'll be fine. And it's not a clunky bag of spanners like older Harley gearboxes, and even some of the more recent larger capacity Harleys with the distinctive clunks everywhere. It felt pretty good overall, and a much more kind of modern package, for want of a better expression. Out on the highway, it felt pretty good. The engine has reasonable torque low down. It's not going to scare anybody new to riding. It would make a good first time bike for anybody who's confident, who's not is not expecting it to be a missile, but equally doesn't want something that's going to scare them to death, and is going to be manageable. So, but mid-range power and towards the top end, which I didn't explore very much because it's a very young bike, and I wanted to respect the bike and the dealership that lent me it. There seem to be bags of beans, plenty of go. I'd say probably a bit more go than the Triumph Bobber, so their claims of around about 100 horsepower or whatever it is probably about right. I would imagine the Triumph claims 77, and I'd imagine the Indian is a little bit down on the manufacturer's claims, which is no different to a lot of manufacturers, but it's got a little bit more go, I think, than the Triumph, particularly in the kind of mid-range. You don't need to dial in many thousand revs to be trundling at the speed limit pretty nicely. We didn't ride it for a huge test ride, but long enough to know what it's like. I've ridden maybe 300 bikes before, so I can get a fairly good first impression. I've ridden the Harley Sportster and the 48 and the Triumph Bobber, and they're probably the natural competitors for this bike, as will be the forthcoming Indian Scout Bobber, which I'm very much looking forward to, and that differs in terms of it's going to have different bars, different suspension front and rear, different foot peg position and different seat, and obviously aesthetics are slightly different as well. So I think that will be a little bit sportier, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more Bobber style obviously. But for this particular bike and application, if you want a kind of a cruiser style machine and you like the forward controls and the wider bars, I think it will suit a good range of people. And I'm tall at 6'2", and really the riding position fits me better than the Triumph Bonneville. I do like the Bonneville Bobber. It's got a great sounding engine, and it looks beautiful, I think, and it's such a little and agile thing. It's great fun to ride, but at 6'2", it's a bit of a toy for me. I'm pretty cramped on it, and I'd imagine on a long journey it's going to become a bit uncomfortable, whereas the Scout, probably manageable. I would probably change the seat, although the one I rode actually had an aftermarket slimmer kind of gunslinger type seat, I guess, so maybe the stock seat is fine on that, but I would like maybe a touring seat and maybe a little bit of a backrest. I think on a lot of cruisers I have a tendency personally to slump a little, and I think the backrest would just help support that. Definitely more of a solo cruiser, unless the rider is quite lightweight and the passenger is quite lightweight and perhaps young, so your body's more used to punishment of the road, as it were. But having said that, I don't want to give the impression that it's like a hardtail or anything like that. The comfort was actually quite good. The wrist shocks probably better than Harley's, and probably better than the Triumph, I think, as well. The front forks were fine. I didn't really think much about them. That's usually an indicator that they work pretty well, pretty much on a par with the Triumph there, and the Harley Roadster, which also has quite a fair front end. One thing that does differentiate it from the others is, although they all wear a single disc front brake, on the Scout it's much better. It's better feel, and more importantly better power. So when I was riding with Hippie, my contact there at Atlanta Highway Indian, I kept on dropping back now and then, knocking it down a gear, finding what the acceleration is like, and then piling on the brakes to give it an almost emergency stop type feel. And there was bags of feedback, and it actually stopped surprisingly well. I'm not suggesting this is in any way Brembo monoblock 6-piston calipers or anything like that, but it stopped it very nicely for a bike of its size and weight, and more than adequate. Again, very good in terms of feel and feedback for those perhaps not so experienced in motorcycling, yet very strong enough to give bags of confidence for those who are very experienced and perhaps are looking at the Scout as maybe a second bike. One major advantage it has over its competition is the tank range, 3.3 gallons I believe it is. It's not, that doesn't make it a GS adventure by any stretch of the imagination in terms of range, but it makes it usable. It makes it very usable. So if you want to go away to the mountains for a weekend with your friends and put some leather saddlebags on the side and maybe a backrest and a screen or something, you're not going to be the one that's stopping every 5 seconds where everybody rolls their eyes and you're rolling it, you're filling up your bike at the gas station. So that's one nice thing as well. In terms of fit and finish and quality, all very good. My particular bike happened to have a slightly loose mirror, but 10mm spanner would have nipped that up in 10 seconds flat, and I dare say probably would have never done it again for the rest of the life of the vehicle. But in terms of fit and finish, yeah, I think they're very much on a par with Harley Davidson. I think Harley maybe are the best in the business in terms of paint, but that's not to say that paint quality on the Indian and even indeed the Triumph isn't really superb. I think all the manufacturers have upped their games in recent years, and that's just one indicator of where the expectation from the customer now is very high and where they're actually delivering. So to summarise, I think it's if you're a level-headed person and you want even modest performance, or performance that's not going to scare you as a new person, a new rider, it's a good choice as a first big bike, I think, if you want that cruiser style bike. If you want experience ride and want a bit more, I think it's got that as well. It's not going to give Street Fighter type performance, but you already know that. But if you're the sort of person that wants either a second bike, or you're more than comfortable cruising along at the kind of speed limit, or typically the speeds that a pack of Harley riders, for want of a better expression, would be riding, or maybe the Indian club would be riding at around the speed limit, say, for argument's sake, I think it would be a thoroughly enjoyable bike to own and ride. For me personally, I much prefer this style of the forthcoming Indian Bobber. I think they're going to be very successful with those bikes. I understand that the initial orders that are sold are going directly to customers. They're not going to dealers with demo bikes, and I totally applaud that. It's nice to see a manufacturer put the customer experience first, and that means that if you were desperate for one, I would get a deposit down with your dealer, maybe even subject to viewing it, or maybe even riding it for a very short distance, but you'll probably need to put down a deposit. I'm interested in the Indian Bobber, but I'm in no particular hurry myself, and I would like to see one in the flesh and ride one, and then gauge my thoughts against the Triumph Bobber and anything else that might appear at that point in time as a potential second bike for me. Just generalising about Indian for a second, I think they're a great brand. I think Indian did the right thing, or Polaris did the right thing in dropping Victory. They were never quite, they were always kind of like the sporty Harley, if you like, whereas Indian appeals, and because it has the heritage as well of Harley Davidson, might not have complete uninterrupted production or whatever the cognoscenti will feel strongly about, but people say the same about Triumph. Yeah, Triumph did actually have uninterrupted production in their bikes. In the years they weren't making them in England, they were made under license in other countries, and I think heritage-wise they're probably the oldest motorcycle manufacturer in the world, even though I think Harley and Indian also claim that too. But either way, I don't care. I wasn't buying motorcycles 100 years ago, I'm buying motorcycles now, and the motorcycles of today are very, very good from Triumph, Harley Davidson and Indian. And for my money, if I wanted a big cruiser at the moment, I do like the Milwaukee 8. I've ridden that. It's a big improvement. It's much more thoroughly more modern design, a more Indian design really. Stroke Victory, that engine has half the components it had before, and it's likely to be a lot more reliable. And I do like the evolution rather than revolution stance sometimes. The bikes like Street Glide are very popular for very good reason. But for my money personally, I think if I was buying a big cruiser come tourer at the moment, I'd probably go with the Chieftain Limited in jet black. I really think the 111 power stroke engine is a great engine, and I really like the style of the Chieftain, and I think it looks particularly good in black personally, although white smoke and obviously Indian red always looks good. And I just think it's a little less Me Too. It's very easy to go and buy a Harley Davidson, everybody does it, but the Indian is just a little bit more exclusive for me, and personally I think the brand is just that little bit cooler. You may think totally different, and believe me, I'm not going to get in an argument over which is better, but just in my personal and humble opinion, at the moment I think Indian and Triumph are killing it, BMW's killing it, Harley is struggling a little bit in terms of overall sales, but let's not fool ourselves, they do have the biggest slice of the pie, so I don't think they're going to implode horribly anytime soon, although it may cost them a bit to buy Ducati if the rumour mill is true on that front, and we'll have to see. But overall, I really enjoyed the ride on the Indian Scout. Big shout out to Atlanta Highway Indian and Hippie there, my sales contact. They're good people, please contact them and go and visit them, they will look after you. And I'm going to leave you with some images and a video of the actual showroom there, and as I say, I would urge you to drop by anytime you're in the vicinity.